Hey everyone, this is Adam Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Today we are going to take a look at the upcoming T-square that is going to be created between the Sun, Mars, and Pluto. Now that T-square isn't going to be exact, but it's close enough and we will be feeling it, so it makes sense to take a look at it and talk about it. One of my favorite books of all time is called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I read this a long time ago now, but I'm going to play with several really memorable quotes from that text as a way of talking about how we can handle something like a T-square, especially one this powerful involving Sun, Mars, and Pluto. So I think you'll find it interesting. If you've never read the book, you might want to check it out. But I'll talk about that a little bit and read you some really memorable quotes as we go for points of jumping into the archetypal expression of these planets. So anyway, before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Make this the place of your daily spiritual practice. If astrology is a part of your spiritual life, then consider this a part of your daily connection. We really appreciate it because it helps our channel to grow as well. You can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on the website, which is nightlightastrology.com. When you go over to Nightlight, you're going to see that under the courses page, click on first year course. Our first year program begins in June. June 22nd is our next enrollment. So you can register now and sign up to come study with us. It is a one-year course in ancient Hellenistic astrology. At the end of today's video, after I sign off, you'll find an additional video that is tagged on going into greater depth about what the program includes. I show you the classroom portal so you can see how that works. It is a fantastic program, and if you are someone who wants to take your practice of astrology to the next level, perhaps reading for other people, or if this is a part of your spiritual practice, it makes a ton of sense to deepen your connection to the language, because there's really nothing more empowering than being able to read charts and transits and track the transits on your own. In addition to obviously having astrologers you tune into, it's good to become more empowered in the history, philosophy, and craft of astrology if it's something that you consume regularly. So anyway, check out the video at the end of today's talk. Early bird payment options are available until May 15th. There's also need-based tuition assistance. If you are someone who would like to take the course, but you need a little help because you're on a fixed or limited income, we do have a sliding scale for tuition that you can work within. So there's flexibility for everybody. We want to make sure that no one's ever priced out of studying something that we truly believe is a sacred subject that should be accessible for anyone who sincerely wants to learn. So we try to make our programs affordable. Anyhow, on that note, let us now switch over to the real-time clock so we can take a look at this upcoming T-square. So here we are on Thursday, April 17th. If we move forward just one day, we're going to see that Mars enters Leo between today and tomorrow, leaving Cancer at long last. Immediately, this places Mars into the opposition with Pluto, which we have been talking about this week. And then if we just take this forward another couple of days, we're going to see that the Sun around April 20th enters the sign of Taurus. And here is where we get our T-square. The Sun is square to Mars. The Sun is square to Pluto. Mars is also opposing Pluto. And so we get what is sometimes referred to as a T-square. We'll see how this perfects now if we take it forward a little bit. So if I go forward just a day, we'll see the Mars-Sun square perfects. Take it forward another couple of days, the Sun-Pluto square perfects. Take it forward just a few more days, and the Mars-Pluto opposition perfects. So when you take that all together, between April 18th and approximately the 25th, we're in about a week-long period in which this T-square energy is expressing itself. Now, T-squares are not all the same. If we had these three planets all squaring simultaneously, it probably would be more powerful, but I'm not going to second guess the power of this either because it's very close to perfect. They all happen really close together. So that window between April 18th and the 25th, which technically starts tomorrow and runs through next Friday, is one of the most potent astrological windows of 2025. For that reason, we've spent numerous episodes talking about Mars-Pluto. This is going to be an opportunity to talk about how to work with a T-square. Now, when I'm thinking about that, I want to first qualify that what I mean by that is, what do you do with 3 planets like this coming into a very heated and intense conversation energetically? Some people will feel that more than others, as you know, and I always say this, a lot depends on your birth chart. But this arguably is one of the biggest transits of the year, and you'll be feeling it. If not in your own life, you'll probably see it in the life of someone close to you. So on that level, I think there are some basic spiritual principles that we who study and live by the stars can remember, not just for this transit, but really all transits, but especially the intense ones, because it's during the most intense transits that we need those basic spiritual truths the most. Well, I guess we need them every day, but it's during the stressful times that it's easy to lose our center or to just lose the plot. So these are 5 things to watch for given all of this. But I want to preface these 5 things by saying just a little bit about Mars, Pluto, and the sun. So with the sun, we have a planet that represents something like the archetypal ideal. Remember that the sun, and I've said this in the past couple of months on numerous occasions in other in-depth videos that we've done on the sun, that the sun represents that which is eternal, divine. When we think of the sun, we think of the light of consciousness being illuminated, as in the process of enlightenment. The sun can be related to many mundane things like fathers, kings, leaders, fame, ambition, and pride. But it can also, on a philosophical level, it's important to understand that ancient astrologers associated the sun with that which is eternal and transcendental. By that, it means something beyond the material world. Everything in the material world is thus thought to be a reflection of something archetypal. This is seen, for example, by the fact that the moon represents the material world, and the moon, by its astronomical nature and symbolism, is a reflection of the sun. And so the soul incarnates in a body. Not surprisingly, the soul, the spirit, the eternal part of our nature, sun. The body that we inhabit, equally as sacred, the moon. The world reflecting the forms of the divine, the moon. The forms themselves, the sun. So on a philosophical level, this is the basic metaphysics of sun and moon. Anytime the sun comes into contact with other planets, especially through a T-square, there's something about the ideal that is coming into dialogue or conflict or creative tension in our lives, meaning we're starting to be more actively concerned with what is ideal. Now, that could be very mundane. What is ideal in my work? What is ideal in my body? What is ideal in my relationship? What is the ideal I hold out for myself ethically or morally, or as a person, as a character with psychological traits? What is my ideal? So it can become very basic, but still questions about an ideal standard of some sort are being explored. The other thing that often comes up with the sun is our sense of ambition or purpose, which is tied to an ideal. Our sense of ambition or purpose is as good as the ideal we have in mind toward which we move. Like, I aim toward the ideal, becoming a really good astrologer, or I aim toward becoming a really good parent or husband, or whatever the case might be. And we have ideas in our head, ideals that shape the arc of that path. Like, oh, that's an image I hold out of what, these values, these virtues, that's what a good dad is like, and then how do I embody that? Moon, how do I embody it? So insofar as our ideals are coming into question, and also things like our ambitions, our sense of purpose, connected to ideal images, all of those things are a part of the sun in this conversation of the T-square. Mars is a god of action, a god of courage, a god of taking a stand, a god of facing fears, a god of conflict, a god of hostility and aggression. Then Pluto, the lord of the underworld, of transformation, of death, of the exploration of shadow, and the transmutation of the soul that happens as it explores and processes experience, and by means of those experiences evolves and becomes illuminated. But it is through the valley of life, through the shadow, through the process of death, through the process of attachments and impermanence, that we learn and grow and become illuminated. So Pluto is very much about the darker part of that process where we have to face shadows, or we have to deal with death and impermanence. And also, the regenerative process of going through all of that is that when we do, there's usually new life and new creative energy that floods through after we have visited those shadows. So put that all together and you have quite a powerful T-square. Our ambitions, our will, our courage, process of facing shadow, all coming together in an intense way is that's a big deal, right? So then you could also think about it in terms of confrontations, hostility, conflict, facing fears as a part of the reconciliation of shadowy aspects of your own character, your own soul that are meant to be explored right now. This could also be about developing courage, standing up, taking action, holding true to an ideal in the face of opposition. So there's a lot of different ways you can read these 3 planets together. See, the AI follows me around. It's weird. I have to learn. There's a setting on the camera that I haven't learned how to turn off yet. I will. I'm just lazy. Okay. So 5 things to watch for given the kinds of themes present with these 3 planets. One is that there, with such tension between these 3 planets, if you look at this from an evolutionary spiritual perspective, there's an incredible opportunity right now to double down on the importance of our peace of mind. When things, struggles, heroic, idealistic conflicts arise, when we have to face shadows or opposition within ourselves or from other people, or there's conflicts arising, in those places, there comes, it's like a choice. Am I going to be the version of myself that is peaceful and maintains equanimity while going through this? Can I tap into that? Even if I can only tap into that at 20%, it's better than nothing. And I will have developed some fortitude of spirit. I will have grown in my spiritual character because I made a choice to walk through a period of this with peace of mind as a priority in front of the actual dealing with the drama. I'm not putting the cart before the horse. Well, I'll get to peace of mind later after the conflict and drama goes away. No, I'm going to try to establish peace of mind, some degree of serenity, and that is going to lead me through this process. An amazing opportunity to do something like that when such intense energies come about. Number 2, oh wait, almost forgot. I go on. There's a quote from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance for each of these. So I'm really excited. If you've never read the book, it's a fantastic, I think it was written in the 60s, maybe the 70s, but it's a wonderful flowering meditation on life, Zen, all kinds of spiritual values in relation to someone, a man's love for motorcycles and a kind of cross-country journey that he takes. He says, peace of mind produces right values. Right values produce right thoughts. Right thoughts produce right actions, and right actions produce work which will be a material reflection for others to see of the serenity at the center of it all. That's beautiful. That's an ideal. That's an ideal that we can also hold for ourselves during conflict. I'm going to keep my peace of mind. And then whatever happens, peace of mind will glow through the results and the process of what's unfolding right now. He might have been saying that when he broke down on the road at one point. I don't remember. But anyhow, number 2 is an opportunity to be about it rather than just talking about it. I think that many of us know what our values are. We, if someone said, what do you value? You would probably say peace, patience, compassion, tolerance, kindness, mercy. You would probably reach for, I think we would all probably reach for some similar things. But when it comes to testing those values, we don't often, it's a daring prayer to say, God, please give me, or universe, goddess, please give me an opportunity to be about my values in a time where I could easily discard them because things are very stressful. An opportunity to establish peace of mind and an opportunity to be about it. Now, the other thing that I think goes along with this is that sometimes people around us are going to provide opposition. They're going to criticize, or they're going to try to intimidate or bully. And, sometimes people do that in a mean way. Other times people do that in a really self-righteous way. They'll be trying to bully or shame you for something they perceive as bad behavior with zero recognition of the fact that they are accosting you self-righteously, bullying you, and trying to, make you a better person by submitting you somehow. And, when people act like this, it's actually a profound opportunity for us to be strong without being mean, to be honest and direct without being, insulting, right? So an opportunity to stand in the face of some kind of opposition and be about your values, that's pretty profound. There's a quote from Zen in The Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. He says, if someone's ungrateful and you tell him he's ungrateful, you've really just called him a name. You haven't solved anything. And that's the other thing, is that sometimes we face people who are doing things or saying things that we don't like, or we feel opposed to, or we resist. It's very tempting in a moment like this, with self-righteousness behind us, like especially when someone really is maybe doing or saying something that's not totally lovable, that we feel like because they did something that we see as wrong, that we're entitled to, attack them somehow. So I would also, as a general warning for all of us, this is an opportunity, even if you're in the right, to be kinder. And kindness and compassion is more important than your rightness. I don't know many times in my life where that hasn't been the case. Is there a loving, kind way to say something? These are interesting questions that come up with such oppositional tension and hostility to Mars-Pluto dynamic. Number 3, an opportunity to face fear. The Mars-Pluto dynamic with the sun in the mix says to us, you have a real opportunity to face fear and grow because you did. There's really nothing. I remember in an ayahuasca ceremony one time, someone said very bravely, in the middle of the ceremony, just announced something that they were afraid of. And the shaman said something to the effect of, saying that you are afraid of something means that you are now in an inevitable process of overcoming your fear. As soon as you can honestly, boldly, kind of without fear, ironically say that something scares me, there's a process at work now, and that fear will be overcome. So even if it's nothing more than just getting clear and standing strong in our honesty about what scares us, the process has begun. Also, an opportunity to face fear in terms of limiting voices of self-doubt or inadequacy. Mars, Sun, Pluto says, fire up inside. You've got this. You can do this. You're capable of more than you think you are. It's a very empowering transit for people who maybe don't believe in themselves. And I don't mean, in that kind of new age egotistical way. I just don't believe in myself enough to manifest billions of dollars and be better than everyone. But I'll find it. I'll dig down deep. No, we're talking about, real self-doubt where you have a moment and you can overcome it. I am stronger, more capable, more beautiful. I'm worth more than I thought I was, or that some voices inside of me said that I was. Doesn't make me better than other people. Doesn't give me an excuse to turn around and act a fool. So, and this is from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Anxiety, the next gumption trap, is sort of the opposite of ego. You're so sure you'll do everything wrong, you're afraid to do anything at all. Often this, rather than laziness, is the real reason you find it hard to get started. And I love that, because I have met a lot of people that talk a lot about wanting to start an astrology practice or start studying or whatever. And honestly, there was a certain point early in my career and I was a little less patient, and I would just say I just hadn't seen as much yet and wasn't as mature, I guess, where I thought, oh, it's just like letting stagnation or laziness overcome you. Just do it, kind of like. But over time, what I've realized talking to more and more souls, and I guess just growing up and becoming a parent and, just evolving myself, is that sometimes people are lazy, but often it's not laziness, it's fear or it's self-doubt. And this is a great opportunity to face fear and to start something and just see what happens. Even just committing to see what happens is a gift you're giving yourself in a process you didn't think you could do that will pay dividends, even if it's not in exactly the way you think it will. Failure in the process of courageously taking risks is a huge reward, because it's never the real victory is that you tried. And I know that sounds really cheesy, very Mr. Rogers, but it is true. So let's not forget the true things. All right. Number 4 is this problem is actually for you. So we run into T-squares like this and they present us with life problems. Oh my God, there's an obstacle. Oh my God, there's a difficult person. Or, oh my God, there's, someone's questioning or attacking my character, my integrity, or I don't know what to do. I have to make a tough choice. All of the kinds of things that come up through T-squares. One thing that we haven't considered is not that this is something you have to get right. There's a pressure we place on ourselves when stuff like this happens. Like, I've got to make this right. I've got to get it right. I've got to act the right way. I have to somehow make or guarantee that the right outcome occurs. And sometimes it helps to step back and recognize that this conundrum, not how you solve it or what result comes of it, but this conundrum itself and anything that comes from it is for you. It's a gift. And no matter what you do, if you stay reflective, curious, and humble about it as something that was given to you, you will receive its blessing. It's true. It kind of sucks that that the universe offers us little riddles of the Sphinx dressed up in existential experiences. And we feel like there's so much at stake. But if we rather see this and the choices and the outcomes all as a gift and stay curious, we still have to play our role and try to figure it out. And there's just a way in which feels like a lot's at stake. But if we keep this other perspective, this Hermes perspective, this is a blessing. You will receive its blessing. All right. The quote from Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance: the real cycle you're working on is a cycle called yourself. He's talking about motorcycles, but the real T-square you are working on is a T-square called yourself. I love when people blame T-squares because they don't even realize that they're subtly blaming themselves. All of the astrology is just reflecting things that are happening as a part of our own psyche, right? So in a way, it makes no sense to say, oh, screw the T-square, man. I'm so sick of the astrology. It's like, well, what you're kind of saying is that you're so sick of yourself and might want to work on that. I'm mostly playing here, but okay. So number 5, real power is found in real devotion. This is a transit that brings to mind power. How much power? Whose power? Power is a tricky subject. And I'm not someone who likes to say, oh, power is evil. I think power has to do with relationships. Like, I can't think of one way of comprehending power, at least from the human perspective, without thinking about power as it exists in relationships between natural world and animals or beings, or between people, And so one of the things I like that I learned from the Bhakti tradition was that in the Bhakti tradition, which is a devotional yoga, so Bhakti means devotion, is that the real way to channel power is in what you care and devote yourself to. Could be your art, could be your paintbrush, could be your lover. it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be service in the sense of some kind of menial, like I'm just sweeping the floors of the universe in service, and now I'm saintly, or it doesn't have to be like demeaning to what brings, or it doesn't have to be apart from what brings some degree of pleasure, right, or satisfaction, or creative involvement or investment. But when we feel power, get in touch with it and channel it into caring, nurturing, fostering, relating to things with love, wow, then we're cooking. That is the kind of power whose manifestation is the ever blossoming flowers of peace and love. What are we looking for, if it's not that? Quote 5 is, care and quality are internal and external aspects of the same thing. A person who sees quality and feels it as she works is a person who cares. A person who cares about what she sees and does is a person who's bound to have some characteristic of quality. There's real power in those sentiments, I think. And I hope that you have found some real meaningful connection in these fun quotes. If you've never read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, I think you'd enjoy it, but he's kind of a motorcycle riding hippie, with Zen insights that are related to motorcycles and cross-country traveling and stuff like that. So it's maybe not for everyone, but it's a classic, and I thought I would draw on it today. It came up recently in a conversation I had with someone, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then I started looking at quotes, and I got the idea to marry some quotes from that book with some ideas for us on how to handle this upcoming T-square. So hope you enjoyed that. Stick around after I sign off. I'm going to give you more insight and information about our upcoming program, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. It is a one-year course in ancient Hellenistic astrology. We place a lot of emphasis on the spirituality, the care of the soul and counseling, live client work in class, and working through the historical and philosophical roots of our tradition. Everything's always infused with a kind of modern archetypal sensibility as well. So it's really a blend between ancient and modern forms at Nightlight. This is one of 4 years of curriculum that we have. So come start your adventure with us. We would love to welcome you into our community. And I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm excited to tell you about our upcoming program, Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic. It is our first-year course in Hellenistic astrology that begins at the end of June. June 22nd is our starting date. I'm going to take you over to the course page to tell you more about the program and what you will learn while you are in it. So here we go over to the Nightlight Astrology website. You can find this at nightlightastrology.com. Click on the courses tab, go to the first year course. Now this program is ideal for people who maybe have a little bit of background already in astrology. Maybe you've done some studying on your own independently, taken some courses or webinars and workshops, but you're looking to deepen your understanding of astrology. And maybe Hellenistic astrology in particular has been calling to you. I'll tell you more about what Hellenistic astrology is in a minute, but on the first year course page, you're going to find everything that the course includes. I want to make the structure of the course clear first, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons that I think anyone might have for studying astrology, and you can see if you check any of those boxes. First of all, there are 30 classes on the year. It's just a little under a year-long program with 30 webinars. Every webinar is 2 to 3 hours long, including a lively Q&A and conversational section after we finished our lesson for the day. Each of those lessons I lead personally through live webinars, so you can attend those live. If you want to follow along at your own pace in your own time on your own schedule, you can always look at the recordings and take those in. And I'm going to show you what the class page looks like so you can see how you can interact with the course as uniquely and creatively as you want to. But you can either attend the live webinars or listen to the recordings or audio or video. In between major units of study within those 30 classes, we have separate classes outside of the 30 classes that are essentially tutoring sessions led by our staff, our course directors. We have 3 of them for our first year program, 3 tutors that help me guide every single class you're in and lead study sessions, and are also staffing an interactive group forum discussion where you can ask questions, look at charts, practice what you're learning with all of your classmates and with tutors there to help you. They'll always answer questions within a business day. So it's a really well-staffed, well-structured program. In between those major units of study and the breakout sessions, we also have guest speakers that come in throughout the year that you get free access to. The recordings are archived for you in your class folders. So you're getting people within our curriculum. You're also getting to visit with some astrologers who are outside of the Nightlight School, but we really admire their work, and so we bring them in. You also have a ton of bonus material. With every lesson, we have recommended quizzes, study guides, optional reading. And that allows people who are really, really, intense, deep, like studious types to go as far as you want to with the material, while other people who are maybe, content to take things in at, just kind of taking in the classes, that's there for you too. So you can kind of go as deeply as you want to. The class, as the year goes on, goes through major units of study in ancient Hellenistic astrology. So if you're not familiar with ancient Hellenistic astrology, this is the earliest form of horoscopic astrology. This is where the astrology that you've probably learned today comes from originally. And that makes some of its features unique. Like, for example, ancient astrologers utilized whole sign houses. We study why they used whole sign houses, how they used them, and we study the why behind really everything: houses, signs, planets, aspects, dignities, essential and accidental dignities, delineation approaches. How do you read and predict within a natal chart? All of those theoretical areas of astrology, we not only learn how to do, but we learn the why behind it. And this is what I think people find most empowering about the course, is that ancient astrology really helps to give you the rationale for everything so that you have the insight available to go off script. What I mean by that is, like, let's say you're learning about a sign, Aries or Taurus or a Gemini, something like that. Ancient astrology won't just give you a list of the adjectives or keywords or descriptions of, say, a sign or a planet. It will give you an underlying philosophical explanation that then allows you to extrapolate from it the kinds of lists that you read in textbooks, which means you'll have an understanding of why everything on a list in a textbook is there in the first place. And you'll also have the insight and creativity available to add things to the list that are a part of your own unique intuition and contribution to astrology. And this is what ancient astrologers wanted students of astrology to learn: the why behind everything. So this is a class where, even though you're seeing things like planet signs, houses, dignities, aspects, and you're like, oh, I've already learned about those things. Not if you haven't studied Hellenistic astrology. I don't mean to sound condescending, but like, truly, most people's experience coming through this program is, wow, I had no idea all that I didn't know about the roots of everything that I've understood thus far about astrology. So it really is about digging into the philosophical core of why we do everything. And then you have greater intuitive and creative capacity as an astrological craftsman or craftswoman. So anyway, that's a brief explanation of why I think Hellenistic astrology is important. Not to mention that ancient astrology was really focused on our ability to accurately describe and predict things in the realm of karma, fate, and destiny, whereas modern astrology's hallmark and strength is psychological depth. And so when you put the two together in our program, which is why it's called Ancient Astrology for the Modern Mystic, I think you have something really special. So on that note, you can see everything that we cover here. So there's a video with some of our alumni you can watch. Everything is there on the page. Now, there are 5 reasons that I want to touch on briefly before I tell you about your payment options and need-based tuition. These are 5 reasons to study astrology that if you mark any of these boxes, especially if you mark several of them, then I think it's a good indication that you might be ideal for this program, might be an ideal fit. So the first one is, if you find that astrology has become a part of your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly spiritual practice, it is a part of how you lead an inner life, then there is nothing more empowering than deepening your connection to that language, because that puts you more in the driver's seat. It's always good to have astrologers that you rely on, teachers that you listen to, get a little objective perspective, especially when you're looking at your own chart through a reading. But there's really nothing more empowering than learning to speak the language at a deeper level for yourself. And if that calls to you, if you want to understand things and be able to speak more confidently and clearly about this sacred language that you love, and this is a great reason to take a structured program. Number two is that you feel called to read charts for people. And look, not everyone who takes our programs is on a professional track, but we have 4 years worth of professional training programs at Nightlight that will prepare you to read professionally for others if that's the path that you're on. Maybe you don't even know if you're on that path. That's fine too. Many people take our programs just for the sake of their own personal enrichment. And again, to be kind of more in the driver's seat with respect to your astrological journey. You have more of an understanding. You can be more confident in reading symbols and experiencing transits with your own understanding that you've cultivated. But sometimes people want to read for other people. This will definitely set you up to do that. We have a certification track where you can take exams at the end of every year. They're optional. You don't have to if you're not on that level of interest. Number three, you have done a lot of self-study. You've heard things from here and there, but you're looking to bring it all together. It is overwhelming to study astrology on your own. So if you want organization, structure, and coherence, what you're getting in this program is going on 15 years of training astrologers, 15 years of developing curriculum that has in mind the overwhelm that many people experience. And this program is structured year 1, year 2, year 3, however far you want to go with our curriculum, to give you an organized, structured, coherent way of understanding the history and language of astrology from both ancient times to modern times in all of the vastness that the field includes. And also, as we go, we want to give you the confidence that you are a part now of an astrological lineage. Astrology has always been practitioner-based. Coming through Nightlight, you are going to have the opportunity to feel aligned with a lineage. If you like my work, if you feel aligned with the way I speak the language, then this might be a good reason to come study with us. Now, if you're seeking the why behind things, if you're like, yeah, that's interesting, I get it, I understand, but why? Why signs? What's the difference between a sign and a house? Why do they ever come up with a sign and a house? What's the distinction philosophically? Why does Mars represent this? Why does Mars in this sign represent that? If you are someone who feels empowered by understanding the why behind things, you are going to love this program, because that's how I am as a teacher. That's how I am as a person. And that's what this program is really all about. Number 5, you are looking for astrological community. Look, I think Nightlight is unique in terms of the kind of warmth, acceptance, safety, and inclusiveness that our community includes intellectually, spiritually. We really pride ourselves on being a peaceful kind of family. I'm a Cancer, right? So it's kind of a family-oriented environment. So anyway, I will end it there. If you check any of those boxes, you may want to consider studying with us. Now, I'm going to take you over to 2 things. I want to show you the dashboard. So here is the Thinkific page. You're going to join this, and on your dashboard, you're going to find any courses that you've enrolled in at Nightlight, and there are many, so you may end up in being involved in multiple courses, and you'll find that they're all there on your dashboard. Click on one of them, and it will take you in. You're going to find that on the left-hand side, there's orientation instructions, course information, class links, and calendar, all the technical stuff you need to know when you join the course. And then you're going to find that when you go through the lessons, that the lesson includes the video, the audio, the slides, the transcripts, the Q&A box text if you couldn't make it live and see what people were talking about, flashcards, homework, a bonus PDF with all sorts of additional recommended reading, bonus videos, additional video links for bonus material. So every single time that you want to visit something within the course, everything is nicely organized. So you can see here, I'm going to pause this before it starts going, but you can embed the video right there. It's embedded and you can watch it. And then if you wanted to, you could also, right here, you could also download the video and watch it on your own device. And that's same for the audio as well. And then as you go, you'll see all of the lessons are laid out. The study sessions are also recorded if you can't make those live. So everything is nicely arranged on the website for you. And that makes it a course that if you wanted to take 3 years to accomplish, you could take 3 years to accomplish. If you want to take it for the sake of getting certified, you have the full year plus an additional year to take the exam. So, 2 years total that we give people if you're on a professional track. But most people complete the program in a year. And a lot of people, over 50% of our students, go on to our year 2 and then our year 3 and horary programs as well. Now, final thing I'm going to show you is right here. You're going to find here is the enrollment options at the bottom of the first year course page. Again, this is at nightlightastrology.com, and you're going to click on the first year course, go to the bottom. The early bird payment saves you several $100s off the cost of the course. That's available till May 15th. Early bird installment plan saves you on the installment plan, regular cost of the course. That's also only available until May 15th. And then need-based tuition. All of our programs include a need-based option where we give you a sliding scale and we say you pick your monthly tuition number within this sliding scale, which is greatly reduced off the normal tuition price. That is for people who are on a fixed or limited income, receiving disabilities, single mom, whatever the case might be. We want to make sure that nobody's priced out of studying astrology. So you don't have to feel any shame. If that is you, if you need help, if you want to take this, but you need to make it work within a tight budget, we get it. Times are tough right now. We don't think people should be priced out of studying a sacred subject like astrology. So we've been offering need-based pricing for 15 years. Nightlight is a donation-based school. It started that way. We have a sliding scale, so it's kind of like donation. You get to choose your rate anyhow. So if that's something that will help you, please use it. Thank you for listening to this. I hope it gave you a really deep and comprehensive introduction to what the course is all about and why you might find it exciting to come study with us starting at the end of June. So any questions you have about the program as you're visiting the course, email us, info@nightlightastrology.com. We'll be glad to talk about anything that you have questions about. We are here and we have a wonderful staff of people at Nightlight who will be a part of your learning experience and are all glad to help you. All right, that's it. We'll see you again later. Bye.